Hello, welcome to the House of Female Leadership in Angola. My name is Eva Rosa Santos, and it's an immense pleasure to have you there with us. Today, we are talking in English. How cool is that? Yes. We want to diverse and bring also other women and men that all around the world, but they do not speak Portuguese. So this is our opportunity also to learn a little more in English. So it's my pleasure to welcome you to one more leadership talk. Female leadership in Angola has the goal to empower, but more than empower, raise and give voice to women. And that is what we are doing during these 5 years. So leverage the voice, bringing more awareness about the topics related to female leadership, diversity, and inclusion. And therefore, we act also in a social responsibility, but also directly to women and organizations that intend to go a little further on these topics. Is that why we bring amazing women and men here to talk about their story, to talk about their challenge as leaders, and to raise also their voices. So let me call to talk with me today. I will have my dear friend, Natalie Forest. Natalie, welcome.
Hello, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. We love to have you here. It's a different space for we are used to, but this is going to be an amazing conversation. And you'll know why I have said that, because we'll talk a little about the way we were connected, G100, Honest and Wisdom. And therefore, the synergies are also here because empowering, raising voice. But let me share a little more about you. And then you'll add something else.
Okay.
Natalie Forest, spiritual life transforming coach. And let me take my glasses, yes, because I cannot see with glasses. Dr. Natalie Forest, spiritual life transforming coach. Experience a novel, holistic life coaching journey with Dr. Natalie Forest so that you may lead a fulfilled life, one filled with passion and in alignment with your purpose and talents. Are you ready to take the step towards self-discovery and take control of your life with strength and confidence? Then let's talk. That will be amazing for our conversation. Natalie is a trailblazer in the realm of personal transformation, renowned for her unconventional approach and profound insights. With a deep understanding that traditional methods often fall short in times of stagnation, she emphasizes the importance of recognizing individuals as a whole beings on their journey to harmonious life. Known as a revolutionary rule breaker, Dr. Natalie's journey has been marked by a commitment to challenging conventional strategies that often lead to feeling stuck. She recognizes each individual as a unique entity and tailors her approach to support them on their path to fulfillment. Her unique deep dive methods are anchored in her social science studies as well as her own life experience, all of which have led to unique insights, which, coupled with her spiritual gifts, provide you an extraordinary mentor in and for life. Wow, what amazing, Natalie. Tell us a little more about you.
Well, I think the most important thing to know about me is actually none of what you just read. But it is that I'm a mom.
Oh, I love that.
And I think as moms, it is where we truly learn how to lead, because we have to live by example, get boundaries in place, live by the boundaries. So I'm a mom. I never expected to be one, but I am. I love it. I'm very blessed. And yeah, I think that's the most important thing because everything in my life evolves around my daughter. Plus, I'm a family person. And family, of course, is blood family, but also those around us who have become family. And whatever happens, they always come first. So it's not about, for me, it's not about financial thriving or anything of that matter. I will leave everything where it is if one of my family members calls. And I think that that is the base of strength, power, and love.
Oh, wow. I just love that. And it is so cool because I have presented you as a life coach,
Mm-hmm.
spiritual coach, but then you said, no, no, that is what I listen. No, no, that is only a title because
Yeah.
I'm a mother, I'm a family, a person. And so often we forgot that the importance of having that, those
Mm-hmm.
boundaries and understanding that we are much more than just a title
Yeah.
that defines our professional approach.
Right.
So thank you for raising this awareness once again, because I think it's never too much. It's never too much saying this.
Yeah.
And especially for women, sometimes we are, oh, I'm the director of something or the admin or something else. Yes, but who are you, in fact?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is crucial. And you know, I could say I'm a spiritual being. I could say I'm a medium. I could say I'm a successful businesswoman. But all of that is here. I think when we're talking about us, when we're talking about leadership, it's what's in here because everything else is not authentic. And the minute it's not authentic, you can't really lead.
Mm. And how you bring that? Because we know our world, especially organizational world, when you start talking about spiritual life and transforming coach, they all go, oh my God, here comes someone that's going to tell me these weird things. I know, I was there. I lived there in this reality for 25 years almost. So how do you deal with that approach when, for example, in an organization, you have people that, are suspicious about that title.
Well, I actually welcome it
Mm,
because so many words in today's world have been redefined, overused. So, what does spiritual actually mean? Right? So, if
yes.
somebody looks at me and goes, oh, well, what does that mean? Then that's a chance for me to explain what I mean. And it's, you know, I could go woo woo, but you need the right people to go woo woo with. So, yeah, spiritual just means where does your strength, where does your power come from? And that's what you need to connect with. And that's your core. You know, for some people, it's religion. For other people, it's nature. For other, I mean, whatever it is, but that is where our spirit resides. That's where we get our strength from. So I welcome it because I get to talk to people and I get to say, well, spiritual transformation just means that it's not just about what do I enter first in the form or who gets what job. It's about how do I approach the job because leadership, in a sense, is really, in my understanding, the way I interpret it, human commitment. So if
Mm,
I commit to another human being, it has to be human to human. So
mm.
I think that's the long answer to your question.
But that is a very interesting way of looking the way you pose leadership, human commitment.
Hmm.
How often, yeah, is that why is the reason because we call leadership and then we call bosses, right? So when you have bosses, you are not saying about nothing of this, right? Is
No,
exactly the
yeah. It's
opposite.
like there are lots of managers, there are lots of people by
Yeah,
title who are leaders, but
yeah.
that doesn't work. It doesn't. I mean, we've tried it for so long.
Mm,
And if we look at everything today, you know, whether you're talking culture, business, politics, everything is being restructured because it doesn't work. I mean, there are so many
Do you
big
feel?
companies. Yeah. Pardon?
Yeah, and excuse me for
Mm,
breaking
yeah.
your sharing, because there was something just pop up like, but you really feel that this changing is real? Because to be honest, sometimes when I look what is happening in our world, the amount of wars we are having, the amount of oh disconnected of social community
Mhm.
and all that, I put myself the question if you are really woman commitments, or we are just there to appraise someone and to achieve some goals and make things happening and forget the
Mhm.
rest.
Fair question. And I think we all ask that. I mean, I
Yeah,
sometimes do the same thing. I'm like, how is this possible? And I
yeah.
think that's where, my spiritual side comes in. So, really, yes, there are lots of wars. And I'm a historian by trade, I'm a trained historian. So I see the patterns in world history, right? And history is made by human beings. Okay. So I'm going, whatever happened when there all of a sudden there are all these wars, fights, controversies coming up. And that's usually, and we see this, by the way, also in religious books, right? And teachings, religious teaching, spiritual teaching. That's when everything comes up to be looked at, and we need to decide, what do we want? Do we want this or do we want this? And I think that's where we are. So it is a time where there's a lot of sadness on the one hand.
Unfortunately.
It's also a time though to really now embrace the human commitment
Mm,
and not fall into the trap of going negative, but say, no, I'm committed to this. I'm going to do it, because it's this constant. I don't like to use the word battle, but it is this constant idea of which one is going to go first. Okay. And I don't say black and white or bad or good. It's like we've had the masculine patriarchy for a long time, and it's starting to fall apart. We see it. And we've had some controversies where we had the feminine energy come in. And it's not about men or women, it's about the energy.
mm,
So I think we
mm.
see more and more of that feminine energy coming. And they're also coming to leadership positions. And at times they're becoming a little more pushy. But
Mm.
that's because they're committed to saying, no, this is where we need to go. Just
Yeah.
sort of like we do with our kids, right? No, you're not turning right. Give me your hand. I'm going to take you over to the left.
Yeah. No, I really like what you are bringing back, because this is also opportunity to learn with mistakes, because this
Yeah.
is cycle, right? And you said
Yes.
you have periods and history repeats herself, and this is a repetition.
Yes.
And I hope, because I'm looking back not so far away with COVID,
Mm-hmm.
when we get to know ourselves also,
Yes.
and we were at home, we were blocked,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time we had internet, we had the opportunity to meet other people, to engage, to make things
Mm-hmm.
happening. And this topic of leadership raises with the COVID, and this feminine energy that you are saying. I think that was very powerful in that moment, because the way you acted and the way these women acted uh, were in fact very different from the way of men, and that was very very spoken about it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
my fear, and you said something also that we, as female leadership in Angola, we are always saying, yes, we need more women in leadership positions. Otherwise, even if you have this feminine energy, you can continue having men with that feminine energy. So, not bringing this to the topic of gender, but bringing it to the topic of women and men. What do
Mm-hmm.
you find the most important for the characteristics of a leader?
heart-centered.
Mm.
And I think we see that more. And in a sense, we see it more thanks to COVID, okay? Where leaders, managers had to ask, whether they wanted to or not, they had to ask the employees, the team members, how you're doing. And that created a very different atmosphere.
Mm.
And I think a little before that period, but also then during that period, it was like, okay, so now I'm getting to know my people, and that's heart centered. And that energy keeps moving us forward. Now, don't get me wrong, there are still some, and we see this everywhere, restructuring, people are just getting fired. Okay, we do see that. And that is not necessarily the feminine energy that I'm talking about. We also see people getting restructured and then getting a lot of help in the restructuring. And that's somewhere in the middle, because in business, whether you're men, woman, feminine, masculine, in the end, it's the bottom line. If
Yeah.
you cannot afford to have 10 employees, you just cannot afford it.
Yeah.
Okay. So somebody's got to be let go. How do you let them go is the question. And so I have seen a switch in that. And I'm doing lots of leadership training. And it's all about conversation. It's communicating from the heart. It's honestly inquiring what is going on. And for some, of course, that's a huge learning curve, because some are used to, is the work going? So we really need to understand the person in front of us.
Mm.
Some of us are more, tell me what I have to do and I'll do it. And others are, well, tell me what I have to do and how I can contribute. And we want to be more engaged. So a leader has to understand who we are and then approach us that way. And I think, generally speaking, if we're looking at men and women, given the experience, women have more experience in that. Okay. And that's just traditionally speaking. I mean, who's at the home with 4 kids and their friends coming over? And every kid is different. And who's talking mostly with the parents, the other parents, the teachers? And that's how we grew up, because the father used to go to work.
Yeah.
Okay. So he couldn't be as engaged. He might come home and hear the stories. But the women have much more experience in that, generally speaking. Of course, every culture is also different. But I think that's where it comes from. We're always asking more, how you doing? We don't necessarily start a conversation with, hi, Eva, have you completed the task? Like, if you
Well,
think about it,
sometimes you do.
but not as much, right? I mean, you and I started.
Depending on the boss you have.
Yes, but
I
you
haven't had the
started
discussion
the conversation earlier, right? It's like, hey, how you doing? It's like,
no, you don't have that kind of conversation.
yeah, okay.
No,
So I think there's a
yeah, I
shift
know, but
happening,
yeah,
and I think that's where we just need to keep going. And yes, there are maybe not as many women in leadership positions as we want. And again, I'm going to history. You don't have to have a leadership position to be a leader. Okay.
totally.
Throughout history, if we're just looking at it, who ran the household? It was the women. Okay. Who took care of the grocery shopping, the bills, everything, going to church, etc., etc.? The woman or the mother organized everything. Most of the time, because the husband, the father, had a very difficult job, came home really exhausted in the evening, he would just give her the money, give her the check, and she'd be like, okay, I have to pay this. So the woman did accounting, she did the scheduling, she did the planning, she had healthcare, she had cooking, she had cleaning, she organized everything. And when she was sick, nothing worked. So you can be in a team without a leadership position and actually push everything forward and create that atmosphere, because sometimes we have to do it from the bottom up or from the middle out. We can't always do it from the top down. It doesn't work because we don't have that in place just yet.
And you also have those leaders that influence, that, as you said, they do not have the title, but they can influence others in order to achieve a certain goal. And sometimes they have the support even for those leaders. Or, we are going to talk about leaders, not bosses, because that is not our goal. And I was kidding with you a little a while, because I already have those kind of bosses that not even hi, hello, how are you, and everything is like,
Yes.
Okay, where is the work? I have done it. What you need? Okay, why are you here? Any problem? Any situation?
Yeah.
So, and that exists and it will continue to exist. But as you said, it can and will have also an impact in us that usually is negative, because we are not seen, we are not heard, and we are not valued. And what can happen is people go looking for the leaders to follow in order to achieve also those goals that are needed for the organization or for a certain project, but at the same time because they felt valuable, and respected and motivated to continue. I just wanted to highlight that, because then you brought another topic that it's so important. This influence and this heart-centered, when we look in a leader. And Natalie, tell me, who are the leaders that inspire you?
That's a tough question. Most of them are probably not even that well known, because they might not be in such high leadership positions. I'm blanking on her name. She was the prime minister of the Philippines for a while. I thought she was amazing. And then I have, people around me who I see who are leading. There are some specific teachers, for example. One of the people that I work with right now, he's a male. He can be a very strong male. He's a lion by sign, but he also is very heart-centered. He's very much about building relationships. So he has those two sides, definitely him. And I think most of all, though, I think my daughter really inspires me, and some of her teachers, because I see how they lead, and they're very kind and very caring. Their challenge is to still think about themselves in the process. And if you're looking into history, definitely, Isis is the one that I look at, and Athena.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
You make me think something that I have read today. That was about a TEDx talk. I just saw it a little while. And the person was exactly saying that now we are not developing and educating our kids to be creative and to make mistakes and learn from the mistakes, because we are learning everything is like this square, and you must go from A to B to B for C, so you cannot think about other F and G as something that is outside of the box. And now when you say the names of Isis and Athena, I thought, wow, amazing, I love that, because you are thinking and sharing something out of the box, bringing a meeting. But at the same time, what they mean, the strong women they were, and bringing that to our days. And I just had to connect, because you brought your daughter, you brought the school education, and I was thinking creativity and how we bring that. What do you think about this, Natalie?
I think it is crucial. I think we need to work on our educational system, because we have so many kids right now that we want to educate, but the term education is really not about what we're doing right now. It's not about, follow line A, B, C, because if I see line A and I can already go to C, why not? I don't
You
need
can't.
B and yeah, but I'm not allowed to, because then I lose points, right?
Yeah.
And also, there's this one example, and it happened while I was still living in the U.S., but I know it happens in other countries too. When the kids start learning, it's like what fits, right? And so
Mhm.
you have like 4 images, and it's in math. You have 4 images. You've got a rose, a tulip, and I don't know, some other flower. And then the last item is a book. Okay. Now, what do you do with the book? Because it doesn't fit into the category. You're supposed to X it out. Okay. Now, imagine it. You're not fitting the paradigm, so you're Xing it out. And so we're teaching our kids to some degree, when something doesn't seem to fit, X it out. And that's where then, the whole diversity issue came in, of course. So yes, we need to be more creative. And I think a big item is, you use the word mistake. I don't use that word, because if I'm learning from it, it's not a mistake. Or if you know anything about movies or recording like this, sometimes you need take 1, take 2, take 3, take 4. So this was take 1. You tried to clean the dishes, one fell down. Take 1. Let's see if we can get the second one cleaned without falling down. Take 2. I think it's really important in the learning that we focus on words that are encouraging and helping us as well as our kids understand that in learning, things happen. You cannot get it right always the first time. I mean, I can't, so why would I expect my child to? And I think that is something that translates into leadership and translates into the world we're living in. If I'm meeting you for the first time and you're in my team, I say I'm in a leadership position, and I approach you and I come from the practical side. Hey, have you done this? Okay. You don't like it. Okay. So next time around, maybe I'll say, hey, Eva, how are you doing? How's the family? I was wondering, do you remember the task we looked at last week? So I'm changing my approach to help the overall achievement process. So we all need to just understand that learning is a part of everyday life.
Yeah, you were saying I was reflecting, but I like to write. Then I was writing, and
Yes.
then I was thinking again about what you said. And I really enjoy the way you put it this way. Take 1, take 2, continuous learning. And at the same time, I was thinking, well, sometimes I do not do that with my kids. I'm like, oh, you should, why?
Yes.
Because we repeat the same. I don't know. Now I do not want to use the same word, so I'm trying to use another one. So we repeat what we learn with our parents. This is what I want to say.
Yes.
But we have to break that cycle. And for me, bringing this topic of female leadership, it was already a cycle, because I come from a family that my father wasn't it wasn't the best person of female leadership support. It's not, thank God he's still alive. But he loves what I do. That is
Yes.
interesting, because he's very
Yes.
proud of what am I doing. But when he was young, he was nothing like female leadership
Right.
support, and well, yeah, a woman. And my mother at the same time, she's 50-50 for me, because she, in a way, she has taught me and me and my brother, the same things. You have to do the bed, you have to put the table, you have to wash the dishes. And she never did any separation because I was a girl and I'm the oldest and he's the youngest. No, you both have to learn how to do this. So we both did it. But at the same time, she has the other aspect from, no, for your father, you have to do this, you have to take care of this, you have to that. And sometimes, well, I do that to my kids also. They have to do the bed. They have to know how to do things. My Pedro, yeah, but the smallest, he asked me, can I do something, the eggs in the fryer because he has 10? And yes, of course you can. So let me teach you how you do it, but do it with supervision. So now he puts the bread and makes the eggs, the scrambled eggs or anything. So, and I love that because they are having some autonomy. But at the same time, sometimes like, oh, mama,
of course,
they are not autonomous, and especially when they are working and studying. Why did you do that? I have studied with you. You didn't do that right. So now I will use the take one and take two. So this is my takeaway and my learning from today. And I will share with them saying, okay, this is not a mistake. It's just our first takeaway. Take one. Okay. But please don't do too many takes.
Yes.
It's important to learn in the second.
Of course. But the other thing is, like you say, we all still get into our old habits because that's how we've been trained. Okay. Yeah. And so it's the training we've had, it's the culture we grew up in, and then it's also stress. Okay. Yeah. When I'm stressed, I'm not quite as able to look at things and say, oh, that was take one and that was take two, because I'm like, oh my God, how am I supposed to add this to my list? Right. And so if we take that from home to the office, right? So as human beings in the office, at work, we're having all this stuff going on. So the leader in a leadership position might want to ask you, did you have any problems with the task? Can I help you? But he's got 10 other people and he's got his boss calling him, where is this stuff? So he has home. So if we look at all the things that impact our attitude, behavior, and abilities every day, we also need to take into account that there are days when you might be a great leader, and there are days when you really should have stayed home.
Yes, we are women. We are women, but we are women. That is what I want to say. And we also have feelings. Yes. And we are not every day with the feeling of being a leader. Sometimes we want someone to lead us also. And sometimes, as you said, we just want to, please, don't talk to me today. My team already knows when that happens with me because they don't, my face is a little like, yeah. Are you okay? Yes. But this is not your day. No. Okay, I'm not going to worry you that. But that is cool when that happens. That means that you have also empathy with the team when they ask you, okay today? Okay, so I'm not going to bother you too much today. Yeah. Thank you very much.
But that's your commitment, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you can set, as a leader of your team, you can set the rules. You can say, when I don't feel well, I'm going to tell you, I don't feel so well today. I have a headache. Please try to give me some space. And then they respect it. They see you as a human being. Exactly. So they know when they come to work and they say, oh, I'm not feeling so well. My mom's having some dental work done. And then you as a leader can say, oh, okay, I'll try and give you your space. Okay.
Exactly.
So it is always a two-way street.
Yeah.
But you need to set the rules,
Exactly. As you said, human commitment, centered, and this is building trust with each other, because I only say this to people. They when they enter in the team, they think, "Oh my God," and then they understand why the things are this way. Because once again, it's important to have clarity about that. It's important to people understand which are our values, and if our values are also the same they have, and the importance we give to them. I had two situations, and it was exactly with the same person. And when she had her baby during a birthday, and usually I like to give that day, and it was also her birthday 2 days after. And she will say, no, but it's okay. And I told her, why didn't you say it before? Because we had an outside event and we needed support. So why didn't you say, what time is it's 1:00? No, but I already have been with them in the morning. And then I was like, there wasn't a communication here, because I value that. Yes. I value that moment with our kids. I value that mother should be there.
Yes.
And I couldn't support her because she just told me in the beginning of the day. And we were preparing that 2 weeks before. And the importance is to say that also that depends. Not all organizations are sensitive to this topic, or give you the day, or tell you to, okay, you can go earlier to give the other kids. She had also another, unfortunately, they had someone of the family that was deceased at the same day. So it was a very negative, everything around. But what I felt at the end was like, if I was a mother, and I am a mother, I would be sad. And what she said was, no, it's my day of work. I have to work. So my value of family is always before, because I work like a crazy woman. And I go, it's birthday. I have to run. I don't have any cake. I don't have anything, but it's okay. I will be there. And we have to bring that more awareness, because for women especially, I think will be important to make that difference, and bringing this to companies who really are committed. And you just make me remember communicating, reinforcing with them the importance of this small difference, because we value that. I value that.
And at the same time, I want to say it's important to you, right?
Yeah.
But if it's not important to her, we need to respect that too. So it's like, we talk about practical needs, personal needs. Somebody's an extrovert, the other one is an introvert. And so, I agree with you. I would say, go home. If there's any way, I'll send you home. But if that person honestly says, no, I'm okay, then I'm like, okay, I don't know how you arrange your stuff at home, but if you're okay with it, maybe the dad is more of the hands-on person. I don't know. So, I think that's sometimes the thin line that we're walking as leaders, right? It's like, oh no, I want to give this to you, but if this person doesn't want it, then okay.
I learned that as HR, and you probably already has also have situations like this, especially on Christmas, or because we had usually here in Angola, Christmas, you do a big party with all the employees, or you do something. So, but when you call it Christmas, people that do not consider it relevant that day, they won't come.
Right.
If you change the name of that for a family event, or they usually use family here, or another name, they will appear. Even if it is the same, but you change the concept. Absolutely. And that is inclusion. because that is bringing everybody together. Because if they do not believe, if they do not celebrate, we have to respect that.
Yes.
And we had made those changes. And sometimes this is what you said.
Yeah.
In a way, it's different, but I want to give you. No, this is a party. It's a party for you. No, it's not, because I do not celebrate. So it's not a party for me. Okay. But if you call it something different, will you come? Yes, that's where you will go. Okay. So let's be inclusive and bringing that together.
Absolutely. Yeah. And some people will still not come, right? Because they just don't do team parties. And that's okay too. It's sad.
And that's okay.
You know? Yes.
Our conversation is coming. We are talking about leadership, about the characteristics who inspire you. What tips you would like to share before we are almost at the end? And I would love to have some tips for who is listening to us that you consider adding value for a leadership role, for someone that he's already in the leadership role or could be being promoting for a leadership role. What golden rule would you share?
I mean, the most important thing, and this is going to sound blah, is be yourself. And, you can be a leader wherever you are. And if you're in a leadership position, there will be people who support you. There will be people who will not support you. That's just a fact. So you can't really, in a sense, take it personal, even though we do, but you really can't, because it's not about you. And I think that's a second most important key. Most things that happen are not about you. They're really about the other person. At work, as a leader, in life. And that's something I had to learn. When somebody keeps commenting negatively on your work, it doesn't mean that your work is really bad. It might just mean that they have self-confidence issues. Okay. So it's be yourself. It's really about them. It's not about you. And then know why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think the last item would be, we still need to maintain a certain level of hierarchy, to put it that way. Okay. Because in small groups, in small teams, you can be friends with everybody. Like in my small business, yes. Okay. But I still need to make sure, like, I don't normally hire my friends, because there are certain things that, and we've heard that, don't hire family, don't hire friends. It works sometimes beautifully, don't get me wrong. But it's harder to keep that business approach sometimes. Okay. Because then you come home and then they're like, why did you yell at me today? Okay. So I think it's, there has to be a certain distance. You can be friends, but at a certain distance, depending on where you're at in your leadership position. In a big company, it gets even more difficult. In a small team, it's different. You can more easily do that. But I think those are like the 3-4 things that I have learned and that are really important.
Please don't forget these tips. Golden rules, golden nuggets that Natalie just shared with us. Natalie, we are really at the end of our amazing conversation. So I'd love you to share a book and with us. Why?
Okay. So, and you warned me about this, and I was thinking about Robert Greenleaf's book, The Servant Leader Within. That's, I think, one of the staples. I think that's from the 1970s or something. He sort of coined that phrase, really. On the other hand, because I'm spiritual, there are a lot of other books that I would recommend. And one of the most profound is, and the weirdest of all, is probably, it's called Bringers of the Dawn. And that's really out there, okay? But if you want to understand some things, I think that helps. There are hundreds of other books, if I, just like you, I'm looking at your bookshelf, you're like, today it's this one, today is that. So yeah, I think Robert Greenleaf, definitely. And then, something more on the spiritual side, whether it's Bringers of the Dawn, whether it is Carolyn Myss, it doesn't really matter, but something that helps you understand your soul.
I love that. Wow, what amazing. Natalie, what message would you like to leave before we close our session?
The message. You don't need a position to lead as long as you lead with your heart.
Yeah. I love that. Especially for our amazing women that so often lead and do not have that position,
Right.
but they are leading with a heart, and they do not add value to themselves, and they do not recognize their potential as amazing leaders they are. So I will grab your phrase and bringing, especially for the women. I know that we have women and men. Please use it, but I would love also for all of our women that are listening to us and will listen, that please feel this. Sometimes you are so amazing, you are so powerful. And as Natalie said, you don't need a position to lead if you lead with a heart. Oh. My dear Natalie, we are arriving at this end of this amazing conversation. I just love to talk with you. You know that.
Yes.
And we haven't talked how we met. We met at
Oh my goodness.
And I said in the beginning, we are going to talk. And then I was like, okay, so very quickly, before we leave, just we met on G100, right? Honest and Wisdom with our dear Jennifer Radcliffe. Yes. And now, Natalie, please share what is your country, because I'm Angola chair and you are?
Germany. Yes. And it doesn't matter, right? Because we're just connected.
And that is the best part.
Yes.
So this was how we met here online in the virtual space, but when we have the same values. And as Natalie said, when we have a heart and human-centered heart, things just happen. So it was a big, big pleasure to have you here with us in Female Leadership House. And I know that we'll have other conversations after this, as amazing as this one. So thank you very much. If you do not know Natalie Forest, you can follow her. We always add in the infos, so follow her, and you know that how amazing she is. So thank you for being with us, Natalie. I will also thank you everyone that joined with us during this almost 1 hour of conversation. It was amazing to have you here. Please subscribe, follow Female Leadership in Angola if you do not know us yet. Share. Please share which women or men you would like to have here also for us to have these amazing conversations. We are talking about leadership. We talk about leaders that inspire. We talked about golden rules to be an amazing leader. If you want to know more because you lost the conversation, you have to start from the beginning because it will be recorded in our platforms here on LinkedIn and also in YouTube and also in our platform on DACA that is on our website. So please join us, follow us, and Natalie, amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.